England 4, Croatia 2, and a World Cup opener that delivered absolutely everything. Welcome to FairPlay, Football AI Review. This was Group L's marquee first-round clash, played on a scorching Texas evening at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Dallas. England came in as heavy favorites, carrying the weight of a nation that has waited decades for a World Cup triumph on neutral soil. Croatia, the 2018 finalists, needed a statement to announce they still belonged at football's top table. What unfolded was one of the tournament's most dramatic and chaotic opening acts. The stakes could not have been higher for either camp. England needed a win to set the tone and separate themselves from Ghana and Panama in Group L. Croatia, meanwhile, understood that dropping points to their most dangerous group opponent in the first game would be almost fatal to their qualification hopes, given the compressed three-game schedule. Both managers knew that leaving Dallas with 3 points would be transformative. Thomas Tuchel's England were without significant injury concerns coming in, and the squad looked settled and confident after a dominant World Cup qualification campaign. Croatia, however, carried the psychological weight of an aging core being rebuilt around younger talents. Luka Modric, their heartbeat and talisman, would start, but there were real questions about how long he could sustain the intensity in Dallas's 33-degree heat at altitude. The narrative thread was clear. Can Croatia's old guard pull off one more heist? England lined up in Tuchel's preferred 4-2-3-1, with Declan Rice and Elliot Anderson as the double pivot, Jude Bellingham operating in the number 10 role, and Noni Madueke and Anthony Gordon flanking him. The intention was to flood the wide areas, stretch Croatia's defensive block, and feed Harry Kane with quality delivery into the box. Reece James at right back was given license to advance and create numerical overloads. Croatia, under Zlatko Dalic, was designed to be compact and dangerous on the counter. Gvardiol, Vušković, and Šutalo formed the back three, with Perisic and Stanisic providing width in the wing-back roles. Modric and Sučić sat as the midfield engine, with Baturina, Pasalic, and Musa tasked with pressing high and offering incisive transitions. It was a system built for resilience and speed on the break. The structural mismatch was immediately apparent. England's full-backs, particularly Reece James, pushed so high that Croatia's three-man defense was repeatedly stretched. Anderson and Rice dominated the central zones, denying Modric and Sučić the time they needed to pick passes. Croatia's plan to counter at pace was largely neutralized in open play, which made their 2 goals all the more surprising, and came instead from set-piece lapses and late first-half chaos. England controlled the opening exchanges with authority, pressing Croatia high and recycling possession through the double pivot. Croatia sat deep and tried to maintain their shape, but England's movement was causing problems early. Bellingham was electric in pockets between the lines, turning sharply and driving at the Croatian defense with a purpose that had the 70,000 fans at AT&T Stadium immediately on their feet. England broke the deadlock in the 12th minute, and it was full of drama before a ball had even crossed the line. Noni Madueke drew a foul from Luka Modric inside the penalty area, and referee Clément Turpin pointed to the spot. Kane stepped up and struck powerfully, but Livakovic got down and saved it, only for VAR to intervene, ruling encroachment by both the goalkeeper and Gvardiol, who became directly involved in play after the initial save. After more than 3 minutes of deliberation, the penalty was retaken. Kane, showing extraordinary composure, drove the ball into the exact same corner, and this time it stayed 1-0 England. Croatia responded with genuine quality in the 36th minute, and it was entirely against the run of play. Petar Sučić, the 20-year-old Dinamo Zagreb midfielder, fed Martin Baturina on the edge of the penalty area, and the youngster struck a ferocious low effort that gave Jordan Pickford absolutely no chance. It was a reminder that Croatia's attack, even in a defensive setup, carried real venom from distance. England regained the lead through Kane in the 42nd minute, and this time it was a goal of real quality from a set piece. Declan Rice delivered a corner from the right, and Kane found space at the near post with a perfectly timed run, meeting the ball with a firm header that Livakovic could only watch fly into the net. 2 goals in one game for the England captain, and his penalty drama felt a lifetime ago. The most significant moment of the half, however, came in stoppage time. Ivan Perisic won an aerial duel deep in the England half and played a headed ball into the path of Petar Musa, who was sharp enough to control and finish from close range. 2-2 at half-time, and Tuchel would have had strong words in that dressing room. At the break, the match was finely poised, but the underlying picture told a different story. England had been dominant in territory, chances, and intent. Croatia's 2 goals arrived from moments of individual quality and set-piece vulnerability, rather than sustained pressure. The key question was whether Tuchel's side could manage the psychological reset and come out with the same structure that had controlled most of the first half. England answered emphatically, and they did it within 2 minutes of the restart. Elliot Anderson played Bellingham in on the right side of the Croatia box with a disguised, clever pass, and the Real Madrid midfielder drove forward, held off the challenge of Mario Pasalic, and slotted a composed finish into the far corner. 3-2 to England just 47 minutes in, and suddenly the momentum had shifted dramatically back toward the white shirts. The most consequential substitution of the match came in the 58th minute, when Dalic replaced Luka Modric with Mateo Kovacic. Modric had visibly struggled with the heat and the intensity of England's pressing, and removing him after 58 minutes felt both necessary and melancholy. Kovacic brought fresher legs and more dynamism, but the tactical damage had already been done. Croatia's creative heartbeat had been extinguished. Dalic made 2 further changes in the 66th minute, sending on Igor Matanovic for Musa and Marko Pasalic for Vušković. The intent was to add a more physical presence up front and stretch England's defensive line, but it fundamentally altered Croatia's defensive shape and made them more exposed to the counter. England, sensing the space opening up, began to grow even more dangerous on transitions. Tuchel's triple change at the 72nd minute completely transformed the energy on the pitch. Rashford came on for Gordon, Morgan Rogers replaced the tireless Declan Rice, and Bukayo Saka entered for Madueke. Tuchel shifted Bellingham into a deeper role and gave Rashford and Saka freedom to attack in behind Croatia's increasingly stretched defense. It was proactive management from the German coach, protecting his lead while simultaneously increasing the attacking threat. Jude Bellingham was withdrawn in the 80th minute for Jed Spence, a precautionary move with a 2-goal lead and 10 minutes remaining. Tuchel clearly had one eye on the Ghana fixture to follow, and Bellingham's exertions in the Dallas heat, combined with his booking, made him a sensible withdrawal. Mark Guehi replaced Stones in the 87th minute for similar reasons, managing minutes and bodies. The decisive moment that truly sealed this match came in the 85th minute, and it arrived with style. Bukayo Saka, carrying directness and craft in every touch since coming on, worked space down the right channel and switched the ball to Marcus Rashford. The forward controlled, cut inside onto his stronger foot, and bent a superb effort into the far corner, a goal of real quality that put the result beyond any doubt. England 4, Croatia 2, and it was entirely merited. Now let us look at what the numbers tell us. England finished with 52% possession, but the more revealing figure is the shot distribution. 22 total efforts compared to Croatia's 10, with 20 shots coming from inside the box versus just 4 for Croatia. That gulf in inside-the-box threat illustrates just how comprehensively England dominated the attacking phase of this match. Croatia's 2 goals came from precision moments, not sustained pressure. The expected goals figures are damning for Croatia. England generated 3.11 xG, Croatia just 0.81. In other words, England created chances roughly 4 times as dangerous as their opponents. Croatia's 2 goals represented a significant overperformance on their underlying numbers. They were clinical in the extreme, while Pickford's 3 saves were all he really needed to make. The XG story is clear. England were the better side by some distance. Defensively, England's back 4 held firm for large portions of the game, and Konsa and Stones were composed and commanding throughout. The 2 goals conceded both came from moments of individual brilliance or breakdown rather than systemic weakness. Croatia's dangerous attack count of 38 was slightly higher than England's 33, but those were largely low-quality possessions in safe areas. Livakovic, for his part, was remarkable with 7 saves. Without him, this could have been a much heavier defeat. England's standout performer was Jude Bellingham, who was simply electric from first minute to 80th. He registered 1 goal and 1 assist, fired 3 shots, including 2 on target, won 3 tackles, and was involved in virtually every dangerous England move. His ability to arrive late into the box, combine in tight spaces with Kane, and carry the ball forward under pressure was a constant source of Croatia panic. He was the best player on the pitch. On the Croatian side, Martin Baturina was the brightest spark in an otherwise difficult afternoon. The 20-year-old scored a world-class goal from distance and showed the creativity and courage that marks him out as Croatia's most exciting emerging talent. He worked hard, pressed intelligently, and kept Gvardiol and Šutalo as the dominant center-backs while being the fulcrum of Croatia's attacking threat. His withdrawal in the 78th minute reflected the scoreline rather than any drop in quality. The player who struggled most was Luka Modric. It is almost painful to say, but the 38-year-old simply could not cope with England's pressing or the intensity of a 33-degree evening in Dallas. He completed just 27 passes before being withdrawn at the 58-minute mark, and was rarely able to control tempo the way Croatia desperately needed him to. It was a difficult night for one of football's all-time greats, and one that perhaps says more about context than quality. Tuchel's tactical decisions were largely vindicated. The 4-2-3-1 gave England the structural balance to dominate midfield while unleashing Bellingham, and the triple substitution at 72 minutes showed both ambition and game management. His decision to push Rice and Anderson as a double pivot ahead of Croatia's 3-man defense was the key structural choice that starved Modric of space. Croatia were too narrow centrally and too exposed wide when England's fullbacks attacked. In terms of head-to-head history, this result fits an interesting pattern. England now lead this mini-rivalry with 3 wins from the last 4 meetings, but that 2018 World Cup semi-final in Moscow, where Croatia overturned an England lead to win in extra time, still casts a long shadow over this fixture. England have learned perhaps to not allow comfortable leads to feel comfortable. Croatia's 2 stoppage-time goals reminded us all why they are always dangerous. England arrive at this World Cup with 9 consecutive wins and a qualification campaign of striking dominance, having put 5 past Latvia twice and hammered Serbia. This squad looks settled, well-coached, and genuinely deep. The triple substitution came on with quality, not panic. Tuchel has built a functional, compact structure that retains the ability to explode when required. Croatia, coming in with a mixed picture, a draw with the Czech Republic, and wins over smaller nations in qualification, have now slipped to the bottom of Group L with no points. The loss of Modric to fatigue, the defensive uncertainty without Vušković for over 20 minutes, and a question mark over Musa's availability after his substitution all cloud their picture. Their remaining quality is real, but the margin for error is now 0. In Group L after Round 1, England sit top on 3 points alongside Ghana, who beat Panama. Croatia and Panama sit on 0. For England, qualification is genuinely within reach with positive results against Ghana and Panama, though neither game can be taken lightly. For Croatia, the mathematics are brutal. They need wins in both remaining games and hope that other results go their way. England face Ghana next on the 23rd of June, an opponent who showed genuine quality in Round 1, before a final group game against Panama. Both are winnable, but Ghana in particular will press high and test Tuchel's defensive structure. Croatia must beat Panama on the 23rd and then Ghana on the 27th, but goal difference may also come into play. Every goal will matter. England look like certain qualifiers if they maintain this level. Croatia can still go through but need near perfection in both remaining fixtures and will require goals in abundance to address their goal difference deficit. My prediction is clear. England top the group. Ghana and Croatia fight for the second and third berths, with one of them progressing as one of the best third-place teams. Croatia's tournament life is on a knife edge. This was a match that had everything: a penalty retaken after VAR drama, 5 goals with real craft and quality, a comeback equalized before halftime, and then England's second-half control reasserting what we always suspected was the gap in class. The 4-2 scoreline is a fair and honest reflection. England deserved to win, and win well. Here on FairPlay Football AI Review, we will continue to track every development in Group L as the tournament intensifies. England are building momentum. Croatia are staring down the barrel. The next 48 hours will define whether this is a story of revival or of goodbye. Stay with us. The 2026 World Cup is just getting started. That's the FairPlay verdict on this one. If you want more analysis like this, follow us. Find us on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok at FairPlay AI, and follow Anthony personally on X at Anthony Fairplay. See you next match.